Hi, I'm Tinny from Mini Bowl Design, and today I'm out in the side yard, and I have the windmill lowered, as you can see. The problem with it is there's a 50-foot cord or wire that runs the length of this, and it's hooked at the bottom, and as the windmill turns, if it makes a full 360, it puts one twist in that wire. Well, over time it may do that 100 times, and the wire gets pretty twisted. You're supposed to unplug it at the bottom and untwist it every now and then, and I don't always do that. So what happened was it twisted enough, so somewhere along here in that 50-foot length, it broke a wire. And so this is just running free with no brakes, and I'm not getting any power. So I lowered it, and some warm day when I can work without my gloves on, I'll find out where the brake is and put a new wire on it. So let's go. Okay, here's a stove idea. I've put a cap on it to capture any unburned alcohol and just generally keep the dirt out of it. Put that off to the side, and here's the main stove. It has a piece of carbon felt, and what you do is you just dump in some alcohol, and there's some holes in the bottom, and that will run down and the carbon felt will pick it up. Let me turn the light out. Okay, then just light the carbon felt. Put your pot on and wait for it to warm up and stabilize, which will probably take, I don't know, a minute or so for everything to warm up and straighten out. There we go. Now, this body here is double walled, and then I've put some wick on the outside above and beyond that, so that the stove is basically a cool touch stove. In other words, if you want to pick it up, it's not hot. Not even close to hot. Probably one of the coolest stoves I've built as far as the heat goes. So when you get done, you don't have to wait for it to cool down. You can just snap the lid on, pop it right in your pack. And it also insulates and keeps the cold from getting in and slowing down the stove. And I may even make it so you can put the cap on the bottom and insulate it from the snow underneath you, especially if you had a black spot on it. So anyway, that's the stove I'm working on, and I'm using it in here every day to boil water for different things that I do, like cleaning up the centerpiece for the Elite. So that's it. Okay, this is this is a 3-piece crank, because this arm comes off and the arm on the other side comes off because they're on a tapered square shaft, and then you have the shaft itself. So they call that a 3-piece crank. And this part of it right here, this housing, is your bottom bracket. So what you do is you cut all these tubes right off the Sawzall, and then you take this part, take all the guts out of it, and sand all the stubs off here, so you just have an 1 5/8" tube with your threads on both ends. Okay, now once you have that, let's go inside and I'll show you the rest. Okay, once you have that, then I made this set of brackets. There's 2 of them. And you put one on one side, and put one on the other side. Bring the radius right down to the bottom, right there. And that leaves you a 1/2 inch at the bottom to drill your bolt holes and bolt right straight through. Now that tube I just showed you, the bottom bracket, slides right through these 2 holes. You slide it back and forth and get it all adjusted just the way you want it, and then you weld this bracket to the tube on both sides. Just spot weld it in 4 or 5 places. And that's where your crank set goes. Now, this is a deluxe set of brackets that I built for myself. So let me pull the camera back here and I'll explain the rest of this. Okay, now this has been a stumbling point for me before I had the milling machine. Making this set of brackets was extremely tough to get the holes and everything. I didn't have anything rigid enough to run that larger hole saw and do a nice job like this. So I ended up, I didn't go all the way up around, which totally isn't necessary. I would cut them off right here and then draw the radius and then cut down there with a hacksaw a million times and drill and file and sand until I got this radius. And it was pretty tough. So here's the deal. All you really need is one piece of metal this long with one hole in the center of it. Then once you take that and cut off halfway down, you have two brackets, and then you can drill these holes yourself. That'd be the very cheapest way for me to make this for somebody else. You just have one piece that's like 6 inches long, drill one hole in it, and make it long enough so that it'll fit on here and have long enough on the bottom for you to drill your own holes to bolt to the other side. And that would be the simplest way to do it. Now, what I'm trying to tell you here is I would like to get into the DIY recumbent bike business as far as just selling a few parts. The camera needs to come up a little bit. As far as just selling a very few parts. Atomic Zombie sells about anything you'd want for a part, but as far as I know, he doesn't sell these brackets. So to keep the price right down, and that's the whole story behind DIY, if I took a piece of 2" by 1/4 inch, and this long, it's like 5 and something inches or 6 inches, and drilled 1 5/8" hole through it, which is a standard outside diameter of the down tube, and just sold that for, say, $5, $6, is that something people would be interested in? Because if you're building a recumbent trike with 1.5" tubing, which is pretty much a standard, Atomic Zombie pretty much set that standard, then you're going to need a set of those to make your adjustable crankset. So what you do with these is they go on each side of the tube, and then you just loosen the bolts up on the bottom and you can slide it forward or back. Totally adjustable. Super simple, super lightweight. But you're going to need that bracket with the radius, half a radius in each one. And I'd like to make these, if people are interested, I will buy the tooling to make these. I may even make them, if it really turned out to be really successful, I would buy another lathe, and I have a 4-jaw chuck, and I would custom bore them right in the lathe. Drill a 3/4 inch hole and then just go in with a boring bar and bore them to any diameter anybody wanted for any bottom bracket. I think the standard is 1 5/8" as far as I can tell with my junkyard out here, but even if there was some custom size you wanted, I could do anything for anybody. Now, if you guys are interested in that, chime in, let me know. Email me or leave a comment and let me know if there's any demand for that. And that's the first item that would sell. I'm not sure what the next one will be. So, I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design. Get out and hike, take a friend, enjoy the great outdoors, and more important than anything, try to have some fun today and try to have a really great day. Bye-bye.